All right, it's been a little bit since we talked about Ole Miss. We did a lot of talking about Memphis earlier in the show, but of course the premier program in the Mid-South is the Ole Miss Rebels, and they are also doing what they got to do getting ready for the upcoming football season. So, of course, you know, if you can't talk Ole Miss without this guy about really anything Ole Miss athletics. He's the host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, which you can catch right here on 24 Plus, YouTube, and anywhere you stream your podcast. Once again, welcome to the program. After a week off, Mr. Steven Willis. I got to give you the clap, and Ruben ain't here to talk trash on me, so I'm going to get it in.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, because we get to talk about football even though it's in mid-April. Yes. I'm excited. This Ole Miss football team, there's a lot of positive vibes coming out of spring practice, and I can't wait to talk about it, man.
So what has really caught your eye? Because I haven't got a chance to make the trip up down to Oxford. It's obviously, you know, it's a lot that goes on in our news business. So you are my guy. You're my scout. I mean, from what you've seen from your perspective, and I know you know a lot of guys who are tapped into the program, what are you feeling about this team?
Well, seen is kind of an interesting phrase because everybody has seen about the equivalent of an episode of Friends. So nobody has that much information. Yeah. So, but the little birds, the little moles inside of practice that are talking about that, they're really impressed with Jonte Cook, the transfer from Syracuse. He was a 5-star coming out of high school. It looks like in his money year, he is developing pretty well. Trinidad was mentioned by John David Baker and by Luke Haas in a post-practice media event of kind of being a perfectionist in the room. He's kind of leaning in on that Tom Brady vibe with Joe Judge as his quarterback coach. That has people excited, and this defense has a chance to be really good, like 2024 good. So there's a lot of people excited about what's going on.
What's been the word on Mayor Pete, on Pete Golden, on how he's kind of running things, the vibes? You know, obviously we talked last time you were on the show. He's kind of treating this kind of like NFL OTAs. What does you feel like he's getting a little bit more comfortable in this role, being the head man in charge now that he has a full camp now to be the head coach?
I think so. Especially, it's weird. You go into a press conference setting and there's questions being asked and you actually get answers. And somebody like Pete Golding just wants to talk about ball. He's not overly guarded about his answer. And let's talk about what something to do with NIL that's not really about playing on the field. No, Pete will talk ball with you. And you heard, if you watched on Twitter, the clip from Greg McElroy's podcast, him going over just simple adjustments of a 3rd and medium with Malachi Toney against Miami, and him talking about what the defensive backs have to do and all of the checks and adjustments and all of that. The guy likes to get into ball, and Ole Miss fans kind of refreshed. Now, I'm not going to take away the fact that Lane had averaged 10 wins a year at Ole Miss. That's not what I'm saying. But it is refreshing to have a coach that is willing to start actually talking about football again, as opposed to talking about everything else.
So will Pete still essentially call the plays on defense, or will he kind of like siphon that off to his other guys? Because that's what I'm always intrigued about head coaches, is how much of the play calling will they retain, because of course they got to oversee so much. Obviously when Pete took over, he was the defensive coordinator, so he was over the defense, but it seems like he got spearheaded into doing everything else. Now that we have a whole season in front and he has his actual staff, how much of the defensive play calling will he do, or will it go to somebody else?
He will call the plays on defense. He's emphatic about the fact that he's going to call the plays on defense. Now, he has help. He has 2 co-defensive coordinators that do things like charting plays in practice and getting ready and doing all of the minutia work that was normally the task of Pete Golding when he was the defensive coordinator. So that is going to come off of his plate. But the act of actually calling whatever defense on game day, he's pretty good at it, as he says, so expect that he's going to continue that.
Now, obviously on the offensive side, you know, you don't have Charlie Weiss Jr. anymore, so now that's going to be a big question mark. Who is going to call plays on the offensive side, and what do you kind of expect from this offense as it's now this new world, no Lane, no Charlie?
It's Going to be John David Baker. He's the offensive
Okay.
coordinator, and John David Baker says the offense is 80% roughly the same as it was under Charlie Weiss. Now, the difference is John David Baker actually predates Charlie Weiss at Ole Miss. So there's some Jeff Lebby in there, and there's some other stuff, air raid principles like Graham Harrell and all of that, the USC stuff that happened as well. So it's going to look a whole lot the same with tempo and all of the system in place, but you have a situation where maybe the crutch plays are a little bit different. You know, the plays that you have to call when the play clock's going down, stuff like that, your go-tos, maybe that changes a little bit, but it's going to look really similar to what it did a year ago.
Now, I talked about this in the Memphis segment when I was talking about how the Tigers were a run-first football team. In a way, you could say Ole Miss is too. They leaned on Kejuan Lacey a lot last season. But with Trinidad coming back, getting more money, and the expectations that are on him, do you still say that Ole Miss plays through Lacey, or do you think now they'll throw that thing more with Trinidad?
The biggest misconception that you can have about Ole Miss is that they're a pass-first team. They are a physical run-first offense and have been for a very long time. John David Baker is not going to change that. You're going to see physical football, and Kejuan Lacey and others are going to get their shots in the run game.
So, Steven, when is the spring football game? Because my calendar's all over the place.
There's not a spring football game, but April 25th, they're doing a Meet the Rebels to where fans can go get autographs from players instead of an actual game on the field. So April 25th is the end of spring, but they're not having a game.
Why they're not having a game?
They're not having a game because the rule wasn't passed before the spring about not having a spring transfer portal window, which changed things. It's something we can get into at a later date on that. But since that rule got in, you can do it now and it wouldn't be a problem, but it was already set.
Well, Steven, we are running out of time, but I do have some news to share regarding you. We oftentimes are talking to you from your cave, your man cave out there, but we actually will have you in studio on our next episode, man. We are excited to have you right here on the 24th floor physical set. I know I am looking forward to it a lot.
Man, I can't wait. This is going to be a whole lot of fun to see this ugly mug walking into the studio and just answering questions. All of you guys that have to deal with me on a weekly basis, you're going to actually see me. So I'm actually a little bit nervous. Maybe your production people might want to get in on me or something. I don't know.
No, I'll be all good. Steven, as always, tell the people what you're working on before we let you go.
Yeah, we're finishing up spring practice. I'm getting ready for my tour stop next week in North Mississippi and Memphis, which will bring me to your studio. We're going to get ready to the end of spring. We're going to handle basketball transfer portal. And all of a sudden, this baseball team's pretty good.
Yes.
So we're going to pay attention to that.
See, we don't talk here because Ruben doesn't watch baseball. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit today, but we are running out of time. But Steven, as always, we appreciate you having you on. We'll see you next week, my friend.
Yes, you will absolutely see me next week. Take care, bud.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, it is the best thing we saw.